So hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. As you guys know, the environment is different because I'm in London. And today I have here the beautiful Linda. She's a corporate nurse. You may have heard it before, but I don't know what exactly corporate nursing is or what it entails. So we're gonna ask Linda all that today. Stop that. So I met Linda at the Nurses Meet and Mingle, and we've extended the mingling. Guys, expect a bit of an accent because she was trained here. She is Ghanaian, but she was trained here. So Linda, first of all, thank you so much for the time. Can you please introduce yourself, a bit about your background, nursing and all that here?
Sure, so I'm Linda. I'm a corporate nurse. I have been nursing since 2008. So for the last 15 years.
Wow.
I trained here, so I trained at King's College London. I studied there and worked within NHS for the first 4 or 5 years. I then moved to Saudi Arabia and I worked a year in Saudi and came back after that experience and have been in the independent private sector. But funnily enough, I've kind of transitioned from pediatric into adult services. And then within the adult services, I've been in corporate nursing and recently within clinical governance, assurance and compliance. So that's kind of my background over the last 15 years in a nutshell.
That is really impressive. From the King's College all through to Saudi Arabia and the clinical compliance. Wow. So what is corporate nursing and why did you go into it?
So corporate nursing is nursing within a non-clinical role, whether you're delivering services, you don't have direct patient care, essentially. So I guess for me, I've been a corporate nurse in a band 8 role for the last 7-8 years. I've switched 2 roles, but wow, that's really what it really is. It's not really non-clinical care, but it's non-clinical services that you provide.
Okay. So did you always have that you're going to enter into that, or it just sort of like happened along the way?
Interestingly, so when I worked in Saudi, where I worked was based on the American model of care.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of nurses, American nurses, who were non-clinical. They weren't managers, but they were nurses still doing something. So I inquired, I was a bit nosy. I didn't get to shadow, but I still understood what their roles were. And they were like quality improvement nurses and things like that. So for me, it gave me the insight. So then I came back from Saudi and then I did a master's in health management because I realized people in these roles seem to have masters or some postgraduate study. So I did that and then completed that at City University. When I was here, I kind of just was lucky and fortunate enough to get into lead nurse roles and corporate nurse role.
So right now, at your current place of work, what is your job title?
So this is interesting. So I'm actually an independent consultant now.
An independent consultant. Okay.
Yeah. So I've opened up my own business and I do consultancy in compliance, assurance, clinical governance.
Wow.
So all that kind of the stuff you need to ensure that organizations run well and according to the way they should be. So it's a new business that I've started. I've kind of taken a leap and decided to focus on me and what I'd like to achieve. And so my role now is as a consultant, a clinical governance consultant.
So guys, you see there's so many roles in nursing, like you never have thought. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I guess that what you do is, let's say I want to open a care home, but with the governance side, or let's say policies and what I have to have in place, I would have to come to you for advice. Is that it?
Yes, so I do advise on that. I can write policies, procedures, I review policies and procedures, essentially just to see that, 1, it meets the requirements of having what it needs to be, but 2, these policies and procedures are not written with the representation they need. Okay. So I always find that actually, make sure that we champion equality and diversity everywhere you see it, but is it really, representative of equality and diversity in your policies, your procedures, your workforce? So I do a lot of that. And within governance, the regulatory, so we're governed by CQC, a lot of that is, are you safe, are you well led, are you effective, are you responsive? And you can use a lot of that to say, well, the work you do, does it reflect what we should be doing? And that's what I do, is to kind of bridge that gap to ensure that we're compliant, but actually, are we following what we need to be following within organizations?
So that means until somebody comes to you, you're not working? Like, how does it work?
So for me, I would take on clients. So I guess as a consultancy, my main role is doing kind of CQC mock inspections. So I'll go out and do like mock inspections.
So you work for the CQC as well?
No. I work as my own company.
Okay.
But within the independent sector, say if someone's going to have a CQC inspection,
okay,
and they want to do a mock inspection just to make sure, you know, I can do that. Then I'll check their policies and their procedures, and yeah, so I do the literally the governance stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, guys, but I need to say this. So this video is proudly sponsored by Lemfi. Does it sound familiar? Yes. Lemonade Finance is no more Lemonade Finance. It's now Lemfi. Same old goodness, but this time even much better. So Lemfi is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK, Canada to 10 different African countries. Talking about Ghana, talking about Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Benin, at no charge at all, no transfer charge. You can send money using Lemfi, whether you use an Android or whether you use an iOS. Just use the link in the description, okay? And for your first transfer above £100, if you use the referral code Nanelle or you use the referral link in the description, you're going to get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. So if you send £100, you're going to get £10 back. If you send £200, you're going to get £20 back, but it's capped at £50, okay? Lemfi has the best rates on the market. This is not even a debate. Like, ask everybody, ask around. Best rates ever. Don't believe me? Just give it a try, okay? Ever since I discovered it, that's what myself, my family, and all my friends have been using ever since we discovered it. Make your first transfer now, okay? Lemfi is so reliable. Lemfi is so convenient, and Lemfi is the best transfer app on the market, honestly. Thank you so much, Lemfi, for sponsoring today's video. So do you work for just private institutions, or you can do a mock for the NHS as well?
I can do, but because I've spent the last couple of years within the independent sector, it's kind of easier for me because I'm more versed in that.
That is so impressive. Hey! So you're like an independent CQC?
Sort of.
You do that as well to prep them?
Yeah, to prep them for their inspection.
For their main inspection. Wow, that is so impressive. For those of you who don't know what CQC is, in Northern Ireland we call it RQIA.
Okay.
But it's the same thing.
Okay.
So they make sure that health institutions are doing the right thing. So aside that, you don't do anything else, just the independent consultancy?
Yeah, so I do that as kind of my main role. I'm also doing patient safety work. So I have a client that I work with and I do their implementation of patient safety. There's a new patient safety incident response framework, and I'm doing a lot of work in regards to implementing that, and that's a requirement from NHS England. So all providers who provide NHS standard care have to be compliant with PSERF, which is what I'm doing. So I kind of do a little bit of a lot, but it's all under the umbrella of governance.
And what kind of educational qualification do you need to get to where you have gotten to?
So that's really interesting. So I did health management, and my dissertation was around CQC, well-led leadership. How can organizations be outstanding?
Okay.
So it kind of led me into that. People have experience, they don't have masters, they have years of experience within governance, so you can do that. And I guess getting into that, governance is all around us. As nurses, we should know, what's our incidences on the ward, what's our risks, but it's getting that engagement. Like nurses want, some nurses, not saying all, want to come to work, do the job and go home.
Yeah.
There's not that engagement, whereas I encourage engagement because I'm saying, well, if you want to get into corporate nurse roles, you need to know the organisation, you need to know what's going on, you need to have an understanding, and all of that is around you. Quality reports, what's happening, what's the KPIs, your key performance indicators, all of that information is around you, and that is corporate kind of nursing. And utilising that and, coming up with, if it need be, themes, trends, quality improvement plans, projects. It's literally drawing all of that information from there. So
you don't necessarily need a master's, but years of experience as well can help.
It can offset, yeah.
But you have a master's in health management, and you did your BSc in child health.
Yes.
And
I also have there's courses out there. So I have a diploma in, well, I've done the exam last month, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we've got it. But I did a diploma in clinical risk and claims management, so that also helps as well.
This is inspiring, Yeah.
And that's what I think, it's great to have platforms like yours to show people that there's so much to nursing. I understand that it's really tough, bedside is tough, and one thing I advocate, so I have my own page as well, I don't advocate to leave the bedside. I say before you think about leaving nursing, think about the other opportunities out there.
So she is Black Nurse Corporate on
Yeah.
Instagram. I'll leave a screenshot there. Do you have a YouTube page?
You know what? I have now done a YouTube page. I will start doing YouTube.
What's the name?
Black Nurse Corporate.
Black Nurse Corporate.
Everything is that. My TikTok, yeah, and Insta and all that, yeah.
Wow. So you're just informing people about the corporate aspect of nursing?
Yeah, so I do that, and I also support nurses who want to go into the next.
I was about to ask that as well.
So I do some coaching. I've helped a lot of nurses go into corporate nurse roles and utilize the skills that they think they didn't have, but actually they do, to transfer it into a different role.
What kind of person will fit corporate nursing? Some people are into nursing because of the interaction they have with their patients. Some people, the bedside is their thing. So what kind of people fits the corporate world when it comes to nursing?
Oh, that's a really good question. You need to have an engagement. You need to be engaged with an organization, or whether it's a clinic or care home, and want to better the services from a non-clinical role. You just have to have that enthusiasm, engagement, and be wanting to change from a different perspective.
Okay.
So yeah.
So for anybody watching us who just wants to be what you are, what advice would you give to such a person?
I would say it's not easy, but it's doable.
Okay.
You know, take opportunities. If you're able to, really do just take opportunities that are around you. And if they're not available, ask, because I'm very inquisitive, so I always ask. Use LinkedIn as a platform. Okay. Make sure your platform, because corporate, within LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of information, roles, and follow companies. There's a lot of public organizations. Technology, health tech is on the up. So follow these companies on LinkedIn, and then you'll be able to get an idea of, actually, maybe this is for me. Maybe I can go into informatics. Maybe I can go into being a lead nurse in a non-clinical role. So yeah, just be engaged and want to change. And I also think it's a mindset thing as well. Adapting a different mindset to say, actually, I want to do something different. I want to get engaged. I want to be a corporate nurse. Okay. So yeah, so I think it's multifaceted. Okay.
So if you need coaching to get to where you want to get to, she can help. So does it pay? I'm asking this because you have started your own consultancy. Does it pay? Do you think you'd have made more doing, let's say, agency nursing?
So it varies the role. You can, I guess salary-wise, it can go up to 40K all the way up to 100K. It's a very senior management.
100K?
It's doable. People just don't know.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not on 100K and I haven't been on 100K, but you know, when you think of corporate nursing, it's your chief nurses, you know, it's your senior leadership, but it's also, you can do roles like directors as well. So it's going into those roles, and evidently they do pay more because of the level of responsibility that you have as well. Me as an independent consultant, I do day rates, or I will charge on a project. So a day rate can be anything between £400 and £600. Because I don't know about the agency rates, so I can't compare, but you know, you kind of set your own hours when you do the consultancy, and
it's flexible.
It's more or less flexible, yeah.
Wow. So would you say that if corporate nursing, you're going to lose your skills as a nurse?
Oh, that's another good question. You can always do clinical.
Okay.
You know, if you choose to do it, you can do it. There are some roles that are flexi, so you have the opportunity to do both. So when I was a lead nurse, primarily my role was overseeing the department, but there were times, you know, nurses would call me, Linda, can you cannulate? I'd come and cannulate because I'm a nurse, you know? So there are times where you can still utilize it, but you're not as clinical. And you have to weigh that up as a nurse as well. Do you want to remain clinical, which is absolutely fine, or will you accept that actually, potentially, you lose some of those skills?
So let me ask you, you were trained here. Do you think for those of us that were trained outside, we can still make it in such roles?
Of course.
Do you see people like us get into such high roles? Have you met people like that? I'm sure you've met foreign trained nurses and you've worked with us. What do you think, honestly?
Nurses who aren't from here maybe become complacent with what they're given initially. So, you know...
That's me.
So you become complacent because you're like, oh, actually, this is okay, I'm good. But that complacency doesn't take you where you need to go if you want to go further. And that's why I say, irrespective of where you are from, you know, you can progress career-wise. You just have, there's a lot of things within corporate. It's like, you have to read the room. You have to understand your audience. You have to be able to articulate the message so that they understand what you're trying to say. And I've kind of learned that by observing the room, if that makes sense. So I've been in situations, I've been and sat with the boards, I've been and sat with the executive teams, and I read the room. Okay, what's this person saying? How are they saying it? But if you're not exposed to that, you won't necessarily know. So it's not, I don't think that you can't get into senior nurse roles, because you can, but you have to understand the audience.
Okay.
And there are some things where you have to bite your tongue because you don't want to be seen as the aggressive black woman, you know?
That's it.
And I see that. And there's this term code switching where sometimes you just have to, you know, how you are at home or with your friends in corporate is different. So it's an element of that. But once you understand, and that's why I do a lot of work, yeah, because people need to understand that it's a different environment. And I'm in that environment, fortunate to help people as well. So it's doable, yeah, I always say it's doable.
What kind of courses can we take to help us apply for such roles in the future?
I'm seeing a lot of job descriptions when I read them is masters and MBAs. Yeah, so they're requiring those kind of high level.
But no specific program.
I found the health management that I did gave me the overview I needed.
How many years is it?
I did it in 2 years part-time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it gave me the operational insight, what I need to know theoretically, how to understand, you know, reading a business plan, writing a business plan. These are the things that you don't necessarily know. No one teaches you. And it's a shame because there's such useful skills. It's just depending on what corporate nurse roles you go into, because it will be different for peds, it might be different for adults, it might be different for mental health. So it's just all dependent on that.
Wow. Now your final words to anybody watching us who has been inspired and wants to embark on this and become like you or go into corporate nursing.
I would say believe in your ability to achieve. If I can do it, believe you me, I can do it. I'm a South London girl, you know, I'm passionate about ensuring that everyone can achieve what they want to achieve within their careers. Just believe in your ability to achieve.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.